we're going to get right into this. Stay tuned, folks. Beat 100 Radio, call it. State your name and where you're calling from.
Joshua Everett, New York City.
Hey, Josh, how you doing?
Doing well, buddy. How are you?
We are good. We are good. Folks, we have on the line, like I mentioned earlier, Mr. Josh Ibrahim, a certified NBA agent. Okay, and we got some things that we want to talk about with you, Josh. We got a couple questions we want to ask, and just to get you a little bit more up to date and informed on what we do, we cover sports, as you know, and we always try to get information. We have a very strong basketball background, myself and my partner Baldy. Both coaches, I'm a certified referee as well. We both former players and all that jazz. But we are always in the mood of giving. And when I say that, I mean we like to get as much information about the basketball process to our listeners who are some younger, who are athletes, and to their parents who have talked to us and called and asked us about different things. So just to touch on folks, and Josh, anytime you want to jump in, jump in. He is the founder of JE Sports Agency, an agency in New York, who, correct me if I'm wrong, Josh, you are a four-sport agency, and you just are an NBA agent?
Correct. Yes, we have divisions in tennis, hockey, and soccer as well.
Okay, so one of the things I wanted to ask, and I know and I'm sure you're familiar with the basketball scene. We have a kid here in the city who's, I think he is the #1 point guard in the country right now, Quaddy Green. You heard that name?
I have not, actually.
Okay. You probably did because he's a high school senior. But anyway, in regards to that, could you give us a brief scenario, I guess, or synopsis of the importance of having an agent, and maybe even touch on the difference between an agent and a manager, if there is one?
Sure. Well, I think, it really all comes down to how you have to look at each situation, separately, as far as the player and what you're getting yourself into. I think the number one thing is just having, especially with me, I like to have synergy with my players and the family involved as well. You're both working towards a common goal, whatever that may be. Most of it is inspiring in the National Basketball Association. So that's the number one thing. Is your goals and the work ethic is not on the same page. That's definitely a key thing for me in terms of what I look for. Recruiting players and trying to assist them get to the NBA. Now, the difference between an agent and a manager is, I've seen some instances where managers, kind of handle the day-to-day operations and, keep their schedules, their training schedules, their diet, nutrition. And, the agent kind of is overseeing everything above that. The contract negotiations, the player placements, the endorsement contracts, the brand management. And there can always be some cross-functioning in terms of working with the manager and making sure everyone is on the same page. But as an agent, your duty is to look out for the best interest of your player. So at the end of the day, you advise and you counsel and you put good opportunities in front of the player, and ultimately you let them decide. At the end of the day, we work for the player, not the other way around. So I think there's, I think having a manager is something that helps the agent out. Just because there's so many little things that can get out of sort and get mixed up and things like that, and letting the agent concentrate on the bigger picture is a good situation. Now I've seen other instances where, it's, it's not a good situation where there's layers that you have to go through, and there's people have the players here from, different corners. So it's important to, leave the professional, the professional advice and the experience to someone that's been in the field and that kind of, has the relationships and the experience to ultimately, start in the right direction. So, I mean, I think it could be a good thing, and it could, in some instances, it could not be. So I mean, that's kind of how I feel about managers. I definitely think they're an intricate part, but like I said, the goal has to be everyone's got to be on the same page.
Right, I totally understand. So, what? And you're probably going to chuckle a little bit when I ask you this. And you mentioned to me when we spoke prior that you represent Larry Brown.
That is correct.
What is it like talking and dealing with him, I guess, on the business side of basketball? And what's the difference that you find, or what you think is the difference between being an agent to a player and a coach?
Okay. Well, I mean, Larry's definitely an old school type of basketball guy. So
My kind of
in
dude.
terms of the business side of the basketball operation, I mean, he's pretty, I think he's developed a reputation as probably one of the greatest coaches, in the history of the game. So with that being said, I mean, he has a resume that speaks for itself. And I think he has a right, he can be pretty particular as far as, where, certain things that he wants to, dabble in, and certain things that he's just not interested in. He's a busy man, he's doing coaching clinics and traveling all over, the United States right now, but he's been a pleasure to work with. He's a really, really nice guy, and he loves the game of basketball. At the end of the day, I mean, he loves coaching. He's got so much knowledge that he wants to, give to younger players, younger coaches, and that's one of the reasons that I admire him as a client and a friend as well. So there's some things, he's kind of had, he has a reputation, but, if you sit down with him and just talk with him for 10 minutes, he's just a phenomenal guy, full of energy and excitement, and you can really tell he loves basketball. So, now, as far as representing the coach, I don't think there's any differences as far as working on the coaching side of things. Obviously, there's fewer openings for a head coaching position. I think at the end of the day, it's all about the right place at the right time. For any player, any client, player or coach. With his situation, it can be a little intimidating for a lot of the coaches. That maybe want to bring him on staff because he's so full of knowledge and experience and his winning pedigree. But at the end of the day, he kind of realizes at this point where, he just wants to get back in the game, and he doesn't take that for granted. And, we've had some situations in the past couple of months where it seemed like good opportunities, but this wasn't the right timing, and we just couldn't get the logistics of it, panned out. But I don't think there's a big difference in the coaching and the player side of it. I think there's a lot of young and up and coming coaches that are, and coaches are in demand. When, if they come through a coaching tree or a really good organization or college program, I definitely think that everyone's going to be keeping tabs on them, and it's pretty lucrative business, as I'm sure you know. So.
Yeah, you do. So, what, if any, and I'm sure all the athletes are different. They're people first, like I always like to say, and I always try to employ fans to understand that. But just throwing this out there, are there any athletes in any sports that you would consider or could argue or debate that are easier to work with than any of the others?
Well, I mean, I don't think there's, necessarily a sport that stands out, in terms of, just, the piece of it. I don't think any of it. I mean, there's a lot of, typically there's a lot of layers to go through, but, I would say, you definitely look for a strong support system, and you have to also look at the sport as well. I mean, it could be with tennis, it's pretty much you have 3 months off, and it's pretty much a year-long, traveling session for a lot of professional tennis players. So, there's different seasons for different sports, and I think the biggest obstacle is just making sure that everything is organized and doesn't overlap with other sports, and if it does, making sure that you're on top of everything. But I mean, I couldn't give you a definite answer on what athletes would be easier, but I would just say every athlete is pretty much, if you're a real athlete, you want to be the best and compete at the highest level, and I don't think that's different in any of the sports. So, as long as they have the drive and the determination and the will, the work ethic to put into work to where they want to be, then I think they're pretty easy to work with.
Right. Okay, cool. Now, I've got one more, I guess, so to speak, business side questions.
Sure.
Because there's some other things I want to get to that I want to ask you, just to see where you are, just to pick your brain a little bit. But this last question is, and I know this is probably difficult because I'm sure it is pretty much haywire, but if you could, logistics or what would, and I'm not going to say typical, what would a day be like for an NBA agent?
Well, I mean, it's honestly, it's never the same. Every day is different. I think the kind of the bulk of the day-to-day operations, and then kind of delve into the smaller things that kind of happen in between. But I mean, majority of it, during the college basketball season is just trying to get out to any live basketball games. There's a lot of travel involved. It's building relationships with players and NBA executives, and that's, and then after the season's over, it switches to an entirely different kind of paradigm, which is the pre-draft process, and then you go through that process, and there's so many little things to make sure that your player is prepared for the combine, of course, the invitational, the pre-draft workouts, and then up until the NBA draft interview. But I mean, a typical day, I start out, checking my emails, making sure, looking out for opportunities.